Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're good. Hope you're all doing good on the streams there. So, welcome, David from Whiskey and Synths and Tonic Note Records here. Good to have you here. My dogs are chilling here as well. Little Rose and Louie. So, great to have you here. Noel, how's it going? Hope you're good. So yeah, this is a little kind of challenge. So I'll do it. Wait till make sure I get everyone joining. A little introduction, and then we'll do a little bit of the Ableton session. So I'm excited for that. So yeah, Captain Con, welcome as well. Yeah, and I'm doing it on the YouTube as well on my MacBook here. So you guys on Instagram will be able to hear it, and you guys on the YouTube should be able to hear it as well. You should be able to see my screen okay. You should be able to see Ableton okay. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear it and stuff. Any issues, just give me a shout. So yeah, looking forward to this. And this is going to be like a challenge, a mini challenge, where you guys can get your track ready for release. And the reason that I really wanted to start this was because you know, back in 2016, that's when I started learning music production, and I was kind of started taking it seriously anyway. I'd been making music before that on iPad apps and on old keyboards like this that I've still got, all that. And I thought, oh, I really want to do it. So I took night classes in Glasgow, which I loved, at Subsign Academy. So I was really, really glad at that, to do that. And also, I was also really grateful. And that took about, like, I'd done like 3-6 week courses of like night classes kind of over that year. And then in 2018 I'd done like a 2-year sound engineering course in Edinburgh, Edinburgh College, and I loved that as well. And along the way I was thinking, oh, there must be a way to like fast track this for people, help people out, kind of not have to do all the stuff I've done, although I did enjoy it. So I thought, well, why not do like a thing like this that's like a challenge. Like, so in 2020 I started helping people start doing music production kind of over Zoom and stuff, and since then I've helped about 300 people sort of finish their tracks, get them released, or get gigs through Tonic Note Records, because I book events and run events as well, and all that kind of thing, just help people reach their goal, because almost everyone kind of had the same goal as me, and it was like, I want to get that track kind of finished to a professional quality, like as good as like the other artists I love to listen to, and I want to get it released on a label as well. And that's what this little mini challenge is all about, to help you go from, maybe you've got like an 8-bar loop or just a bit more than that, how are you going to get it arranged so it's sounding professional and as awesome as possible. That is the plan for me just now. So I think my dog wants to get past. You want past, Louis? You mean good boy? So that is the crack on the video tonight. So if you've got any questions, just put in the comments. I'll be checking it like halfway through the comments and stuff. I've got like a tab here, and then also I can see them on Instagram. I'll answer them, like I'll try and answer them as they come up, but if I don't see them, I'll check about halfway through, and I'll definitely do all the questions at the end as well. I'm saving some of my best tips to the end as well, so remember, stay on for that. And by the end of this session, the idea is you'll be able to have like a track that is like in arrangement view in Ableton. And you can take some of these concepts in other DAWs, but I guess I'm mainly focusing on Ableton. I use Logic as well, but Ableton's my favorite. First one I learned. You always love the first one you learn, basically. And yeah, so I'm excited to show you. And for you on the Instagram, guys, you'll be able to hear it. It's kind of coming out my monitor speakers straight into the phone, so it might not sound the best, but you'll get the idea. And I'll describe what I'm doing, and if you know Ableton, you'll know what I'm on about. And then for everyone over on the YouTube, hope you're all good. You can hopefully get the screen share okay and stuff like that as well. So if you're on the Tonic Note one on Instagram, hope you enjoy it. It's Whiskey and Synths over on YouTube. I know I shouldn't have 2 brands, but there you go. So I forgot to say Shlanjava, music producers. How you going? How you doing? As the catchphrase. So this is actually my first ever like proper live stream, I guess. So hopefully it's useful to people out there. Now, what I want to do is dive into Ableton. I've got a session open that's probably like what you've got, and I've got a few tracks. I've got 6 tracks in total. And I've got Ableton's got this thing called scenes that's like rows. You can see them here. I've got my tracks labeled and color coded, so you've got to be doing that. So I've got drum rack, bass, sub bass, blip lead, pad, and bass guitar. And I'll just play them one by one to let you hear what I've got. And like I said, the idea by the end of this, we will have this arrangement view, which is kind of like a timeline, to like get this ready for the next steps in this challenge, get your track arranged in a sort of professional way. So yeah, just so you know, I'll probably take about half an hour, 30 minutes. We started at 8:30. It might take about 45, depends how it goes, but essentially I've scheduled in about an hour for my own time. But for you guys, I don't want to waste your time, so I'm going for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes roughly. Hope that sound with views. Alright, so if I go over here on my drum rack, I've just added a drum rack of my favourite sounds. I'm going for like a synth wavy, techno-y kind of crossover in this track. I wasn't sure what I was making, I thought it'd just be fun. But I do love retro sounds. If you've watched my stuff, you might know that. And I've tried to do a trick where my favourite artist, LCD Sound System, James, said one of his bandmates was going to do a solo album, and he was like, use one drum machine, one synthesizer, and one drum machine. Louis, stop moving that. Hey, don't move the thing. Sorry, dog's moving the tripod. One drum machine, one synthesizer, and maybe a microphone. And I thought I'd try that. So I've got one synth plug-in for all the things. I've got a drum machine on my drum rack, and then the bass guitar. So here's the drums. I'll turn that up for the Instagrammers. Hope you can hear that okay. Welcome, So. You're just in time. We're just showing everyone what I've got in the Ableton session. Who have we got on the YouTube? We got one on the YouTube just now, so that's cool. There'll be a rewatch of all this as well. But here we go. So that's the drum rack I've got in. Just one clip. And it's an 8-bar loop, and I do recommend starting all your things with 8-bar. Like if you've got a 1-bar loop, try and then use this duplicate button to duplicate it, add variation, and make it into like a 4-bar loop and an 8-bar loop. Actually mine's 4 bars, but you want a bit of variation in the hits. And also you'll notice I've added like the velocity detail down below. So you really want velocity to give your music a bit of rhythm and feeling and human feeling to it as well. So yeah, we've got ESJM EM joined as well. So welcome, how's it going? Yeah, so for this, I'll sprinkle in little tips like that as we're going. The bass line I've got sounds something like this. Yeah, I like that. And essentially I played it in by hand using like the computer's keyboard. So I did play it in by hand. I didn't quantize everything perfectly because it's good to have that human feel in your music. And also but I did shift some notes around to make it a bit better, but I didn't quantize everything because you can zoom right in and kind of little bits being off grid like here or there. Quite important to add that human feel. And then I've done a trick I love, like Justice, Daft Punk do this, is once they've recorded in the main bass notes, they'll take some notes, split them in half and put them an octave higher or lower. So you can see it bleeping. And this is a free plugin I want to recommend. The bass line is the Full Bucket Music FB 3300 FB 3300, and it's an emulation on an old Korg, and everything Full Bucket sounds amazing. So I've used it on everything. Apart from the sub bass, I just used a blank operator that's set to a sine wave, and that just adds a deeper layer to it, which you might or might not hear, but it just adds body to the sound. And then that's it with it. I'll tell you what, I'll throw in the blip lead, and the blip lead is just a really simple part this time. Repetitive like this, not much velocity information this one, so I cheated a bit there. And on the blip lead, I love this. This is a tip from Fortet. So if you listen to my podcasts or watch them, you'll have heard this already. But Fortet, he says he likes chucking randomizers on. You got a 15% chance of random, and then maybe 3 or 4 choices that just kind of randomly rotate. And it does mean every time you play the track or bounce it, it's going to be different, but that is quite cool. So this is the blip lead. And I guess that's where the sort of techno-y influence comes from. I don't think you normally hear that in synthwave, that kind of thing. But I love my techno, I love synthwave. I make weird electronica, I don't know, so it's just a whole blend of things and influences. But I think that lead is quite a techno-y kind of lead, and it's sending it to a reverb plugin. So I've got all my sends and returns here, that's the Arturia Rev Plate, which was a freebie. So every holiday Arturia do a free plugin usually, so definitely try and check out if you can. And then I've got the pad sound as well now. Just here, full bucket music again. Waves of Sin. Okay. So hopefully that's working all right. And yeah, hopefully you guys are getting this on the YouTube okay. I can tell you guys are, but if anyone on the YouTube's having any problems with the stream or anything, just tell me how it's going as well. I hope it's streaming okay. It should well be, looking at my OBS and all that. It should be good. So there's OBS for you to see. And then I thought this had a bit of a new order kind of influence as well, the way it is. Kind of, the drums especially. I've got kind of loads of DMX drum machine sounds, Lin drum sounds, very 80s drum track sounds. So I thought, why not try and add a sort of Peter Hook style bass guitar? And I just used the Labs, which is Spitfire Audio Labs. There's like a paid version, but you get loads of freebies on it as well. And this one's got a classic bass DI sound as well. So I'll play that by itself, because I think in the mix it kind of gets lost. It's a pretty cool kind of realistic sounding bass sound. But I noticed in the mix it's maybe too much. Hey Jules, how's it going? So that one there is a good example of what we call masking, if when you've got kind of different instruments but they blend over too much. But I'm not deleting it because that might come in handy when we're doing this. So I did create a guide to help with this, okay? And the aim of it really is to get 3 scenes in Ableton, 3 rows worth of music before you try and take it to arrangement view and do it in a timeline. And it's because if you just take, like, you've got one great 8-bar loop and you try and extend it over a whole song, it can work, but it's just harder to make it interesting for any length of time. It's harder to like make it evolve or really tell a story. Music's kind of about communicating and telling a story as well. Basically our aim is to get 3 scenes of music similar to the first scene, which is like this. And then those 3 scenes will be like the foundations we build our track up from, if that makes sense. If you are into like songwriting, or you came into electronic music through songwriting and kind of playing other instruments, you'll probably just know this is like verse, chorus, bridge. Terms not that often used in electronic music, but we can use them. Or some people will call it part A, which I'm going to name this scene part A. So it's our main one. Part B, and then the other part is part C. And so part A is normally like your chorus, your best bit. Part B is almost like a low-key version of that, so almost like a verse. And then part C is quite often what ends up being like the pre-drop in your track. So the bit that kind of gets all wavy and crazy before your track actually drops. So part C, yeah, is a bit like that, and you can go a bit more crazy with it, which is fun. And I'll show you a few hacks along the way. For example, you could just write the music for every part of this, which I recommend is a good way of doing it. Or you could do it a different way, where you can use some of the little hacks that I'm going to teach you as well, because sometimes it's a bit annoying just always writing everything from scratch. And if you kind of tweak things and edit things, sometimes what that can mean is you can get it sounds a bit like the last section of the song, but it's different. In electronic music, that's important. It's like consistent, but it's had variation to it. So let's start with the drums. Let's do it with the drums. So I'm going to do Command D or Control D if you're on Windows, to duplicate my drums down on this scene, and I'll play them there. I'm going to stop all the other clips and just play the drums just now. I'm actually going to rename that clip B and rename the first one A, and we'll do that with all our clips, because see, when we start getting arranging on the go, this is going to help us an awful lot, because it's like, I don't know if probably everyone here has played with Lego when they were a kid, but it can be quite a complicated Lego structure at the end of it. So if your little bricks have labels on them, it makes it a bit easier. So part B, so part A is like this. It's fine. I think part B, I want to be a bit more minimal, but a bit more driving. The first one has a kind of electro swing, and I've mentioned techno is a bit of an inspiration to this. So I'm actually going to start by hitting in the kick drum a bit harder on every sort of downbeat. I kind of want it like that, but let's check it out. Yeah, take out that fill there. Yeah, maybe even harder like this. Yeah, I kind of want it faster like that. I've got two kick drums. One is more punchy and one is more subby. Well, that's quite cool. I didn't mean to do that, but quite a mad rhythm. Not exactly. I'm going to shorten this to 1 bar at the moment, because I think I'm struggling doing it. 2 bars, doing it all like this. Boo, boo, boo. So give that a break. And then see these hi-hats, I'm actually going to put them on the offbeat by moving them along a bit. Let's see, I kind of want them to be a little bit more, yeah, and I kind of want the claps and snares to be different as well. Yeah, that's it. So just kind of have a really basic beat on this one. Yeah, so it's a little bit, so the first one's like this, more swung and groovy. Tommy Donuts, hope you're doing good. And then the second one becomes a bit more harder. I think we need a bit more of a ride at the end there, so I'll take out the I kind of want to ring out a little bit more, maybe this one. Yeah, like that. And then I've added some extra sounds to make this one a bit harder. So it might take my claps, well, that's the hi-hats. Let's see where the claps are at. So, whoa, I like that. Yeah, let's add in some heavier sounds too. And I could work away at this for ages, but you get the idea. I want this clip to be a little bit different to my first one. Okay. And then I'm going to add that super dark sound. I'm just going to take down the velocity of the second one, I think, because it's really loud. But I like it when it's loud at the start. This one here, click it. Right, cool. And then I'm going to do the same with my bass line and my pads and blips as well. So with the bass line, what I quite like doing is you can actually duplicate it down, rename it B, and then I'm just going to select all the notes by clicking in the middle, going Command A, and you selected all the notes. And you can use this invert button, which flicks the notes to like a relative position. So A_sad_body, welcome to this tutorial about arranging your track. So what I've done is selected all the notes and click invert, and it actually changes the relative position. If I do that again, that's the way it was, flips it there. But it's because it's inverted it so much, it's raised it up too many octaves, so I'm going to bring it down. Ooh. So it sounds a bit, it's almost the same but different to the first one. First one's this. So it's different, but maybe not different enough. So what I might do is select them all and drop them down 3 whole steps. So it's almost like we're shifting the chord pattern down 3 whole steps. So so 1, 2, 3. So it's on the A. So it's almost changed the chord of the song. So the first one is a little bit like this, like you hear it. And then the idea is the next part's going to be similar but different. So that's still part 1. And part 2. Yo, Tito G, Bob Gray, Mikkelsen, welcome to this tutorial. Hope you're doing well. Hope everyone's doing good. Got a few people on the YouTube as well. James, thanks, he's telling us it's streaming grand as well. Good. So as you can see, I'm building my track out with scenes. Each instrument is getting a part B to it, essentially. That is not exact same as part the first part before it. So I'm hoping this will go alright. So the blip lead, what I can do is duplicate that down, rename that part B. And like I said, you could write a whole different part B, or you could use this cheat code where you just go in, select all the notes, hit invert, and you could even hit reverse, and it's reverse and inverted all the MIDI notes to make it a different pattern like this. So let's see. So if we solo that, this is our original one. This is our kind of techno-y kind of lead. Hope you can hear that okay on the Instagram. Hopefully, sure you can hear it okay on YouTube. And then it goes to this. So it's almost reversed it and inverted the notes. Let's check it works for our new bass line and drums. So I think the reversing of it hasn't worked. It's changed the rhythm too much, but the invert has. And also, I remember I dropped the bass line down by 3 steps. I think I'm going to have to drop this clip down by 3 steps so it's matching the same chords as well. So let's do that. Select all the notes and bring it down 1, 2, 3. There you go. It's working much better now. So I'm still hearing a bit of a key clash to that one. I'm liking that a bit better. That's something I might work on a bit more in the background, but I don't want to waste too much of your time, because the main thing is to illustrate we are creating 3 different scenes here, and then we'll lay them out in arrangement view. With the pad, what I might do is actually just record in the pad rather than actually duplicate it or anything like that. That's why I kind of know what notes I want. I'm kind of wanting the notes of A is used an awful lot, and C again, but starting on note A. So I might be able to get a few extra notes in there. So I'm going to kind of jam it out. So I'm going to go, nice. What I'm going to do is actually going to stop the blip lead, because I don't think it's working that well. And that's fine if when you're creating these 3 rows or scenes, is you might decide actually, you know what, I just want in the sort of part B no lead, and then so it comes back in part A more. So let's try that. So there we go. Quite like that, that's not too bad. And you can see the timing's a little bit off on the clips, because I played it in, but that's fine. You don't have to quantize everything and make everything strict on the grid. That's a common mistake actually in music production, especially when pads have like that slow attack and stuff, so you try to trust the way you played it in unless it's obviously bad. So that's part B to the song, and I'll go back to part A like this. And then for part B, part C now, which I would call the bridge if I was doing this as a songwriter, I might just make a really simple drum pattern here, just with like a kick like this. Let's hear it. So it's like boom, 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 boom. And maybe this is where I can use the bass guitar part that didn't really work out originally, but might work here. Like, I'll mute it. Can you get that new order moment? And with this part of the song, the bridge or part C or pre-drop, before the drop, this is when you want it to be like, it's going to get kind of like wavy and kind of minimal, and like, so it means when you go back to the main part of your song, it has more impact basically. That's what you want. So I'm thinking maybe just some low held, just like synth pads that are like, whoa. That'd be quite good. Yeah, I'm thinking something like that. I'm actually just gonna put in a long held note of, it looks like C0 here, yeah. Just like that, just like this. I might put in C1 as well, or A1 as well, just to make it kind of a good, interesting thing like this. Might need get a little clap in there as well. That might be quite good. Oh, I'm not used to, yeah, that little short cowbell. Like. Just for an extra bit of rhythm. Maybe we'll just have not the wind drum, just the soft kick drum this time, yeah. And so now, if you've been following along with this, you should have 3 rows, or known as scenes in Ableton. That is part A, part B, part C, and essentially that's your chorus, your verse, and your bridge. And now it's actually really easy to get these into Ableton as arrangement view. So that's cool. So you know, if I'm rushing through the sort of inputting things side of things, and you're not that used to it, that's fine. If you're a bit more of a beginner, I might do other streams on that in future, but this is all about arrangement today. So I'm kind of assuming you know how to program in bass lines, programming beats and stuff like that. So if you've got any questions on that, hit me up in the questions and stuff like that, in the comments. If you're enjoying it so far, hit us up with a comment. Hope you're enjoying it so far. And you know, I'll answer all the questions as we go along, and definitely recap at the end as well. And yeah, I've probably got about another like 15-ish minutes, maybe 20 minutes left on this to go as well. So hope you find it good so far. Thanks for the love heart there. So this is quite fun actually. I'm quite enjoying this, so I hope you are too. Now, what we'll do is I've got a little guide, PDF guide thing here, and these can get sent out to you because accompanying this challenge, there's the live streams which you're on, or you're doing the rewatch of them, but there's also emails with a PDF guide which I send out, and if you're on the YouTube, you'll see a screen grab of that just now. And it's something I worked really hard on to help people finish their tracks, and I thought, well, you know, some people like to read, but these live streams might help a bit as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to a section of it where I added the guide for exactly rough how many bars you could use. So this is like a recipe essentially. It doesn't have to be like this, but the idea is section A1 will maybe last for about 16 bars, and each section will probably last for about 16 bars. So what I'm going to do is go into Ableton's arrangement view and actually mark out with markers where each one is going to start. So if I put a marker there, I'm going to say that's section A1. Okay, A1, and drag that right to the start. And then a full 16 bars will go by. Then section B1 is going to come in at the start of bar 17. And in Ableton, you can see that it's kind of grey, light grey, grey, light grey, or if you're on dark mode, it's even a bit more obvious. Usually, because your loops are 8 bars long, having the sections to your song or track about 16 bars, it just works really well. Now, all this is like a recipe, a guideline. You know, you're the chef. You can put whatever ingredients you want, change the structure of it. But if you get this guideline, I'm just really hoping it's going to help you at least get started with arranging, because I do know it's a big problem to some music producers. So let's check out the recipe for it. Yeah, so C1, I'm going to put that there at bar 65. And then you'll realize you can't scroll along further, but if you hit play just there, it'll sort of play along or zoom out like that, and then hit play. You can zoom out a bit more. And then at bar 81, I'm going to do bar 3, A3. Okay, edit A3. And just as a caveat, by the way, this is not the only way to arrange a track in Ableton. There's loads of ways. There's actually a great book that Dennis DeSantis made. Shout out Dennis DeSantis. Dennis DeSantis is like big wig at Ableton, and this is 74 strategies for electronic music producers. I recommend it. It's got loads of other ways to arrange tracks in Ableton as well, and I'll kind of cover some of them and some of my own ones in future as well on how to arrange a track. But this is one way that is quite easy and working all right. So we'll set it to there just now. And you can see everything's labeled and color coded. This is where that comes in handy, because I'm actually going to drag these rows to the corresponding bits I just marked out using the guide. So section A1 starts at bar 1, section B1 starts at bar 17, and then so on and so forth. Each section is 16 bars long. So I'm just going to drag and drop them. You literally grab the tab, the row title, and drag it over to there, and you just need to make sure you line up each part with it is. So if I drag it down, the MIDI clip for like the drums is going to end up on the bass, and we don't want that, and that's why naming and color coding everything's so important. And you'll see that they're not long enough, so you just extend it out like this, and then that is section A1 done. Okay, now the cool thing is we'll put in section B1 next. Drag that over, B1, start it there. You can select all the clips and drag them along like this. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, there we go. There we go. And then, because I'm on section A2, but I've done A1 already, I'm copying this. Now you might be thinking, oh Dave, wait a minute, your arrangement is going to sound exact same all the way through. What is that about? And also, if you label things wrongly, like I have there, it's going to not work out right. So let me delete this. Yeah, I've got a section that was more than 16 bars long. So you might have seen that. So I'll grab these. But the thing is, if you spot your errors, that's good. Remember, you can follow my guide here. A2, bar 43. Yeah. Okay. And then B2, bar 49. Yep. So extend these along to there. And then section... Oh, you can see I'm totally making mistakes. Basically, in section A, this is, even though I labeled everything, I'm still doing it wrong. Right, cool. So I'm copying and pasting all the sections along. It looks like lots of Lego bricks in a sort of paint by numbers, but don't worry, we'll sort that later. Then part C, bring it along to there. Okay, bring it along, extend it out. Dang it, there we go. Okay, extend it out like this. And then section A3, we'll bring it in. And then some people like to end on section A, and some people like to end on section B, or some people write a whole new outro for it as well, and that is fine as well. 81 to 97. Okay, bring that one out like that. Okay, bring that along. It's bar 97. So those of you on the YouTube, you'll be seeing this really well right now. If you're on Instagram, thanks for your patience, but hopefully describing it as best as I can. What I've now got is the last section. Sometimes people use their bridge as their outro, which is quite a cool thing to do as well. And some people will write a whole outro, but essentially what you've got now is all those three scenes are copy and pasted into your arrangement view. But now you can't start a track just like this. Well, you could, but just everything straight in like that. So what I might even start is I might start with just my bass line, no drums, like that. And I might take the lead, or just start with the bass line and just start with just the pad actually. So all I'm doing is dragging the end of each clip and tweaking it. So it's like, Now you might think, oh wait a minute Dave, I want my intro to be longer than that, which I kind of do. So if you click there, you can go create, insert silence. I'm actually going to insert 16 bars silence, and I'm actually going to start with intro. So this is like I was saying, you can kind of just do this any way you want to. And I kind of thought I wanted this to go on a bit longer first to start with. There we go, kind of like that. So So by tweaking the clips and changing things, you're now creating your arrangement maybe easier than you would be than if you just had the 8-bar loop you started the session with. And what a little trick I love doing is like this. When you come to the end of a bar, you cut off a little bit of the drums. And then what I'll do is I'll go through the whole arrangement. I'll be like, okay, what am I going to take out and where? It's almost like subtracting things at this point. It's like you've got all your Lego and now you're taking bricks away, so it actually flows better, if that makes sense. One, two, three, go. All right, Jacuzzi General's joined us as well. How's it going, Aaron? You all right? Great to have you. So we're just arranging a track for anyone that's joined, and there'll be a rewatch of this over on the YouTube as well. We're at the stage where we've made 3 scenes in Ableton. We rows of music called scenes. They're all slightly different. They're almost like verse, chorus, bridge. And then we're arranging them in arrangement view by dragging and dropping them in, then changing the length of each clip and stuff like that. And you might think, oh, this is sounding a bit blocky, Dave, but we're going to do things like automation and ear candy soon. I think I want for the end of that bit there. Yeah. So, what I want to do is kind of play around with this arrangement, and for those of you on the Whiskey and Synths on YouTube, you guys are seeing this, hopefully that's interesting. And you can split clips in half if you want to. You can click in the middle, right click and go split, and then that helps you like delete things out if you want as well. Really handy to know. If you're like, oh, I like this bit, that's a good shout actually. So if I split a clip here, okay, split, it means this is my original loop of drums. But then this one, I could take out all the hi-hats if I wanted, just delete them. So these 2 clips are now slightly different. Just had variation. And in electronic music, variation's so important because like it's all very loop based and things looping around. But if you don't have variation, it can get really boring easily, even if it's a great loop. So just having these little tweaks of variation where it changes ever so slightly is important. And to do it without losing that hypnotic effect is important as well. So that's sort of the crack with that. And right now, I've just got a whole screen from bar, where are we? Bar 1. And I've gone all the way to bar 129. So it's like 4 minutes long already. And I understand that in electronic music production, especially in Ableton, getting into arrangement view, other people might call it timeline view if you're on other DAWs like, I don't know, Logic, Cubase, whatever. That's a hard thing, getting out, you're stuck in the loop. So hopefully this process is not the only way of doing it, like I said, but this process is helping you be like, yeah, this is like one way I could approach arrangement to help. And to be honest, the biggest problem most people have is they don't have the building blocks at the start, the foundations, which I would say is 3 scenes of music minimum. You want your original 8-bar loop, that's the banging 8-bar loop, the reason you're excited about this project. and then you want to make a variation on it that you could say is maybe a bit more low key or a little bit different. It's almost like the verse. And then you want to make a kind of wavy, almost tripped out section that you would say is like the bridge, that sort of kind of is in electronic music you call the pre-drop, that goes into before your music drops back in. And whether you're making crazy big drops like EDM or dubstep, or you're more like house or techno, there's still moments in tracks where things like that happen, however subtle it is. And even in songwriting, that happens too as well. Not necessarily like a drop, but a moment that allows, basically you can't have loud without quiet. Like you can't have drama without soft. You kind of need these moments like that. So yeah, and then so what I'll do is I'll play it through like I've got it and tweak it. 4 minutes worth. What time we on? 21:08 and 9:08 p.m. And then if you got any questions as it's playing, join in the chat. I'll answer any questions, and I'll be tweaking it as I go. And like I said, this will sound like a blocky arrangement, but the idea is with automation and ear candy and the other things I'm going to teach you guys soon, that'll help. So let's have a listen. That didn't work great, so I'm going to put in. So as it's playing, I'm making loads of edits as it's playing, splitting clips, deleting out. It's a lot about deletion and subtraction at this point. Raised up the notes an octave in the blip for after the drop, see if that makes a difference. That's alright actually, and then halfway through let's bring them back down an octave. Like now. What about we bring the synth bass down an octave? Yeah. So there's a lot of removing things. All right. So Fail Live joined us, Masherelli joined us. You guys, how's it going? Great to have you here as well. Got a couple over on the YouTube as well. So we're making a track. We're arranging a track specifically. That is the crack. And what you maybe just heard a bit of was we had all our tracks laid out. And as I was playing through, I was literally splitting clips in half, deleting out notes, deleting out hits, and just trying to make it sound as interesting as possible, give a lot of variation to it as we're going along. Just as a little recap for anyone that just joined us, because we're just kind of probably wrapping up in the next 5 minutes. You started with an 8-bar loop. Our job's to arrange it. So we have a row in Ableton, or a scene, that is part A. We want to make part B, which is similar to part A, so scene 2. And this is like kind of a little bit different. Like basically it's the verse of your song if the first part's the chorus. And then you want to make part C, and that bit is like the pre-drop or the bridge that adds a bit of drama. And then you drag them in using the recipe I've got in the guide that a lot of you would have got in the emails. Basically each section lasts 16 bars, and it goes part A, part B, part A, part B, part C, part A, part B. So it's ab, cab, A, B, A, B, C, A, B. Or, and you can vary it as you want. That's just a rough recipe, but each one will be about 16 bars long. And in tomorrow's a day off from the challenge. This gives you a chance to digest this. That you'll be able to rewatch this stream. There's also a quick 10-minute video version of this as well, and the PDF guide. And comment me if you're like, oh, I want to get the guides as well, because I didn't get them on the emails, Dave. I'd love to help you guys out. But essentially, like I said at the start, I've been through years of music production and I love it. I'm so grateful for all the people that have taught me. But what I really wanted to do was condense this down. A lot of people have the same goal: a finished track released on a label. And the big step to getting your track finished is taking it from an 8-bar loop to getting it arranged. You just completed part 1 of the 3-step mini challenge. Tomorrow night, have a good bonfire night. We're back, well, I'm back with you hopefully on the, what's the next day? Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. UK time. Will be on the Instagram and the YouTube as well, which is Whiskey and Synths. And this one will actually have the full stream of the screen and high quality audio. But hopefully if you've been joined in the Instagram one, just describing it and talking through it and maybe hearing it from my speakers has helped a little bit as well. But yeah, if anyone's got any last questions, now is your time to jump on the stream and comment with any questions or anything like that. I'll stick around for a bit of that as well. Comment, let me know some feedback as well. Let me know if you enjoyed this, if it was helpful. If you're watching it on the rewatch, big ups, thanks so much for joining in as well. But everyone who's here live, massive shout out to you. The first Whiskey and Synths. Where's my little dram thing? Whiskey and Synths live stream. Yes, Slanjava music producers. You've been tuned in to Whiskey and Synths, aka Tonic Note Records. And just to shout out, we've got our compilation coming out on December. It's our 7th one. Oh, 7th compilation. 7 years in the game, championing music like you, doing music producers, underground music, the alternative, the interesting, whatever. So submit your tracks. If you don't know how, message me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Just message. And Facebook. I mean, yeah, well, just get in touch with me. I'm easy to find on the internet. I'm everywhere, right? And how do I submit to your compilation, Dave? How do I be part of it? At the end of the day, I don't use. All the artists keep the rights to their music as well. This is just a showcase. This compilation. So Emil just joined us. So Emil, welcome. We're just wrapping up, I'm afraid. But this is all about arranging your track on the Whiskey and Synths YouTube. There'll be the rewatch of this probably not long after it finishes. It normally takes time to process and that. Looking at the chats, I've got James Maitland saying blame it on the Bucky 7. Yes! Which is quite cool. So blame it on the Bucky is the title we've always had. 7th one. So I'm glad. Thanks for the likes and comments so far, everyone. And I think that's pretty much it for this evening. So a wee about 45-minute stream tutorial there, but you know how to get in touch with me if you've got questions. Thanks so much for joining this, and I'll catch you later. See you later, guys. Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Bye. Cheers, YouTube and Instagram.